My name is Nicolas Khazzam. I have been treated at Envita for Lyme, but I actually have 3 separate infections, or co-infections as they call them. Before I started getting symptoms, I was a very active person. I was a tennis player. I was a cyclist, a triathlete, and I was just very active, sporty every day. A lot of my life was based around athletics and adventure and travel. And about 4.5 years ago, I started getting a pain in my feet, and it just kind of slowly progressed and kind of derailed my entire life. I've essentially haven't run or been able to play sports since then for the past 4 years.
Tell me kind of about trying to find some help for that.
It's been a process, definitely, and a mess. It's been a process and a mess. I started by going to like in the typical, in the medical system, standard care, and it just led me down a path going from department to department, doctor to doctor, trying to identify what was wrong with me. And I kept getting diagnosed with different things. I was diagnosed with gout. I was diagnosed with various types of arthritis. I was diagnosed with just pain, essentially, which doesn't mean anything. I eventually realized that once I was diagnosed with arthritis, that there had to be a reason, a root cause to my arthritis, because it was an autoimmune kind of inflammatory arthritis, not a overuse arthritis. So the answers I was getting in the traditional system just weren't enough for me. After I realized that traditional medical wasn't ever going to do anything for me, I started looking for answers elsewhere. I went to a holistic health clinic in Switzerland that my grandmother found. They were all about optimizing your own immune system, because your own immune system is what heals you. It's your repair mechanism. But in my case, it wasn't enough. They weren't even able to tell me definitively what my infections were, but they kind of had an idea that I had an infection. I essentially gave up on curing myself, and I turned all of my attention to just managing my symptoms. And my mom was the one that found Envita. She was doing some research. I think she was actually doing research for a friend of hers who has cancer, and was looking for treatment, and she saw the Lyme, stuff, and she's always kind of thought that it might be something like Lyme disease. She knew that from the beginning. Even though I got tested for Lyme twice throughout this entire process in the traditional system, and I got 2 false negatives. So I saw Envita's website. I really liked their philosophy and the information they had on there. It just made sense to me when I read it. So I called, and I had a really enjoyable conversation with one of the people on the phone. They knew about Lyme. They could kind of connect with me about my symptoms, and it was just easy from there. I mean, the phone call just kind of progressed naturally for me. It's like they already knew what needed to be done, and not in a salesy kind of way. They just knew that I needed to get comprehensive labs, and they knew that I needed to meet with a specialist, somebody who truly understood the body as like an integrative whole. Yeah, they encouraged me to come in to get my labs done. Comprehensive labs, very comprehensive, and I could tell before that they were going to do a good job with diagnosing, because you really need to test for a lot of different things to rule out, and just so your specialist, your doctor, can get a very wide view of your general health. I had a meeting with the doctor, and he just really, Dr. Coffin, he just understood what I was going through in a way that all the doctors that I'd seen prior to this did not understand. Like, it's like they didn't even try to understand. They're like, oh, you have pain? Take this anti-inflammatory, and that's it. And then they never consider the root cause of anything. They just treat the symptoms. But Dr. Coffin knew that And Envita knows that there's a root cause to everything, and they really go after the root cause. So I appreciate that a lot. I walked into the clinic, and it just, first of all, it's very welcoming, and it's just very legit. Like, you go in and it's legit. You know, you're not waiting around. When you walk into you know, a regular hospital appointment, it's like you're sitting in the waiting room. There's not very much communication. When you walk in at Envita, you can kind of see everything that's going on. You see all the nurses, you see all the people working. The people in the waiting room they have a different feel than people in traditional waiting rooms. It seems like there's hope, and it's a very, very good energy, and it feels very legitimate. My main issue is an infection, and nobody ever told me to get antibiotics, and there's a lot of confusion about antibiotics. I just knew that what I needed to do was treat the infections aggressively with antibiotics. That's what my protocol was. Just go after the infections aggressively, and then Envita is gonna monitor my health while we're doing that. The antibiotic treatments that they do here, it's not just like you're getting a general antibiotic and that's it. They're very specific, they're very targeted, and they're very aggressive. The IRAD therapy is, everybody that I've told about it, even medical professionals, first of all, they don't even know, which seems crazy to me. They don't know what IRAD is, but it makes sense. It's a way for the cells in your body to actually absorb the antibiotics and make them more effective, which is the main problem with Lyme is that they hide, you know, in your central nervous system and behind the blood-brain barrier, and the IRAD antibiotics can actually get there. They said I was going to be here for 8 weeks. I was here for 8 weeks, and the infections are gone. Yeah.